All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA regular season video, and the last NBA Cup video. We got the NBA Cup championship game last night. I want to break this game down a little bit, talk about the San Antonio Spurs versus the New York Knicks in this final game. We also are going to briefly talk about some games that happened on Monday. Detroit versus the Celtics, just a little overview, and then the Nuggets versus the Rockets as well. So if you like what I'm saying, like the video. If you have your own opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. So I just watched the highlights for the Knicks versus the Spurs, and I will say I was very impressed. I like the energy from both teams first and foremost. I think both teams really wanted this. They said at the beginning of the broadcast that this was sort of a stepping stone for the Spurs if they were to win it, and this was more validation for the Knicks if they were to win it. And the Knicks did go on to win this game 124 to the San Antonio Spurs 113. And we're going to talk about some other stuff as well, like I did my last video about the NBA Cup, talking about um, the overall vibes, some stuff that came out from Commissioner Adam Silver about the NBA Cup and about some potential changes in the future. So we will talk about that as well. But some standouts for me for this game, just in numbers, but also like impact wise, watching the game. OG Anunoby had perhaps the biggest game of his life since like the finals back in what was that 2019? Yeah, when he was in the NBA Finals. This time it was in the NBA Cup championship game. OG Anunoby had 28 points, 10 of 17 from field goal, 5 of 10 overall from three, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, one block, no steals. But his impact was felt way more offensively this game than it normally is. OG Anunoby is sort of your like point of attack defender, your ball stopping defender on the other team's best player. But in this game, he had a really polished offensive game. He was off a bunch of wide open threes that were critical threes, but they're wide open, cutting to the basket. He's great at cutting to the basket. I think some of the numbers on him cutting to the baskets are kind of crazy. Um, Jalen Brunson, the captain, 25 points, 11 of 27 overall from field goal, 1 of 5 from three, 2 of 4 from free throw line, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 turnovers. Not the greatest game for Jalen Brunson splits wise, but did try to pitch in with his own 20-point game, and he did that. Some other guys, we will talk about the rest of the starting lineup, but um, off the bench is where the Knicks really won this game. And the Knicks won this game because of Jordan Clarkson. He had 15, Tyler Kodak 14, Ariel Hukporte no stats at all, but he had a couple good hustle plays that aren't going to show up in the box score that were just very notable. Mitchell Robinson, strangely, not very useful this game. I mean, you would think a guy like Mitchell Robinson would be somebody you'd put on um, Spurs center Victor Wembanyama, but they really didn't. You really didn't see it that much, and Victor had his own bad game of his own. Um, but the Knicks won this. They were comfortable this whole game. That's what I took away from this is they were comfortable the whole game. It was a tight game, but the Knicks just always kept within striking distance. Didn't let the Spurs get too far away, and they were very comfortable. And then once it got around the fourth, end of the middle of the end of the fourth, they really started applying that pressure, and it was really good to see the Knicks actually like almost pace themselves and not tire themselves out too much. I know they play a lot of good defense, and that's where a lot of their energy goes. But they pace themselves offensively. They didn't really go too crazy going for the lead. And then finally, when they saw a little break in the Spurs, they're like, okay, now's our chance. Let's go. And when they went, they went. They took over the game entirely. Um, the combinations they ran out there, whether it was just like OG Anunoby and Josh Hart with the bench, whether it was like Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns with the bench, all the combinations they ran, all the combinations Coach Mike Brown ran, were really good, man. They were really good. I think we're at the point in the season where either a coach is going to find something on his bench or find different lineups that he likes, or he's not. And Mike Brown has sort of found his lineups that he likes. And this Spurs team is very weird. You're gonna have to run some weird stuff. Um, I don't feel like at any point the Knicks had to run any weird lineups. They were comfortable with every lineup they put out there. Obviously, you're comfortable when Tyler Kolek gives you 14. Jordan Clarkson makes an appearance finally with 15. Um, you really take those positive things, and you just say, "Hey, keep going, keep doing your thing. We'll find the minutes for you for those guys to go off." And it was a real masterclass in just staying in a game. You know, the Knicks could have forced it at any point. The Knicks were, I don't want to say the far better team, but with a more composed team. They've been in these situations before. This is sort of new to the Spurs as a whole. At least this era of Spurs basketball is like winning and being in these high intensity games. Nevertheless, I think it was very positive for the Spurs to be in the situation, to be in the NBA Cup final championship game, um, and for the Knicks, like the people said at the beginning of the broadcast on Amazon, this was some validation for them. And I still have my doubts about this team. I have a lot of doubts about this team. And some people are like, oh, this is just a participation trophy. It doesn't mean anything. I think it does mean something for this Knicks team. This Knicks team has gone through a lot of changes, gone through a lot of different iterations of this team, and they hope this is the final one that will get them at least to the finals. I think just not getting to the finals makes the season a failure for the Knicks. I think they need to at least make it there. Um, Obviously, there was an iteration of this team where Tom Thibodeau was the coach and Julius Randle was the second star, and um, all this stuff. And now the current iteration is Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, um, Mike Brown. It's a different iteration of this team, and they play a different style. And this game in particular is an outlier of this, but Mike Brown has put a lot of the starters' minutes down. In this game, they were up. OG Anunoby 40 minutes, Karl Towns 30, Josh Hart 29, Mikal Bridges 33, Jalen Brunson 41. Um, this is the outlier game, but when you're in a sort of final game scenario, you sort of say, "Screw the minutes, let's just win the game," and they won the game. Another person I want to shout out is Josh Hart in 29 minutes, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 of 3 from three. Um, a strangely good offensive game, even though it's only 11 points. He did some good offensive stuff, and you don't really expect that from Josh Hart. And maybe we should start expecting it in this new sort of role of Josh Hart's of under Mike Brown. I mean, like the new role for Josh Hart, sort of. And it looked good out there. It looked good. Let's talk about what went wrong with the Spurs in this game. Even though they were ahead for a majority of this game, I think they captured the lead in like the first quarter, and then just they never let up from the lead until the ending stages of the fourth quarter. Um, it wasn't great. Victor Wembanyama still coming off the bench. He also had some, I believe, some family things going on, so his head wasn't completely in this game. Um, so there's that. This is something to. It's not an excuse for Wemby. It's just something to think about when talking about this game or thinking about this game. Um, I was sort of disappointed in a lot of the players. Everybody gave it their best, but the funny thing is the leading scorer for this team, for the Spurs team, came off the bench, and it was the rookie Dylan Harper with 21 points. He was 5 of 7 from three, 7 of 14 overall from field goal, 7 rebounds. Let's see. 3 personal fouls, no turnovers, a really clean game from Dylan Harper. And it was really weird to watch at least the highlights of this game and see Dylan Harper looking the most comfortable player out there on the Spurs team. Granted, De'Aaron Fox had his moments, 16 points, 5 of 13 from three, 2 of 6, 5 of 13 from field goal, 2 of 6 from three. Who else is here? Harrison Barnes had like a couple moments, then he disappeared as he usually does. Stephon Castle looked good. Um, Victor Wembanyama off the bench looked good, but it just wasn't enough. It didn't feel like they had the flow. They didn't look comfortable. The Knicks defense is just so it's not stagnating. It's staggering on opposing teams like the Spurs team. A young team that's really weird. That they can't run. They have to run a certain lineup out there all the time. There has to be one primary ball handler out there. And when Victor's on a minutes restriction, and when Victor isn't really feeling it, the Spurs team is very flat. I like De'Aaron Fox a lot. I think he showed a lot this game. Um, but man, uh, some of these lineups out there, like I like Luke Cornett as a like a backup center. I don't want Luke Cornett starting. 14 points, 6 rebounds, got outworked on the boards. Stephon Castle 7 rebounds, 12 assists, really good playmaking night for Stephon Castle. Vassell 12 points. Keldon Johnson 3, Julian Champagny 3. Yeah, and Spurs fans were not happy with this bench at all. They were not happy with the bench minutes. I saw a lot of upset Spurs fans on social media. They're like, this bench sucks. We need to do better, and all that stuff. They normally would say. They normally normal what a normal irate upset fan is would say is like this bench sucks. And I don't think it sucks. I just think it's weird. It's a conglomeration of too much talent, and there needs to be more specialty players. And I'm usually against specialty players. I'm more so for people have everybody be able to handle the ball, have everybody be able to shoot a three. When you got too many of these guys, and a guy who's a specialist in Harrison Barnes isn't showing up, it's time to make a little bit of a change. And I don't know what that change is. Um, I did like the fact that the coach, Mitch Johnson, um, he showed some emotion. Um, there was a terrible call, and Mitch Johnson was like out there at the center court, just like yelling at the refs. I really like that from Mitch Johnson. Uh, first year head coach, yeah, first year head coach. Second year as a Spurs coach, he was the interim head coach last year, but this is his first full year as with the title and the job. Um, yeah, it just wasn't a supremely positive game for the Spurs. I mean, you hate the result, you hate um, what happened in the game. The Knicks just looked like they were toying with them at times. Like they would just do smart, savvy things that the Spurs weren't completely ready for, and that like guys like De'Aaron Fox, in some criticism of him, should be prepared for. Should know this Knicks team plays hard. And to have one of your smarter players, and Victor Wembanyama, sort of on a minutes restriction and not really being able to get in the flow of the game, the whole team suffers, and that's kind of a duh. Yeah, when the best player sucks, the team sucks. But when you have this much young talent and you have a guy like De'Aaron Fox, who is he a franchise guy? Maybe. You get worried, and I'm sort of worried. We'll see. Victor's gonna be off the mental section soon, and we'll see what happens. The Spurs only lost this game by 11 points. I think if you can pat yourself on the back, you pat yourself on the back and say, "This was decent. This was okay. We could do slightly better." Um, some other things here. Um, a trend, an NBA trend, so to speak. Um, NBA Cup winners. So the Lakers won it the first year, the Bucks won it the second year, and the Knicks have won it this third year. Um, both of those teams, the Lakers and the Bucks, have both been first round exits. So we will see if the trend continues or not. Um, yeah, that's really it. That's it for this game. Nothing too in depth, too terrible. I mean, like you can look at the box score itself and make these assumptions. I mean, I watched the highlights. I saw a lot of positive things from the Spurs team. You could just feel it. And even when I was watching the live box score on my phone, I was like, okay, the Spurs are up. But let's see if I want to see them close it out. I want to see them close it out. And then they didn't close it out. They just didn't close it out, unfortunately. To talk about the NBA Cup a little bit more, talk about some things that were floating around. Um, from Adam Silver did like a little, I guess it was a pre-game or NBA Cup final game, championship game press conference where he talked about some stuff. He went on the Amazon broadcast at some point during their coverage as well, and he talked about the NBA Cup and did all the regular sugar coating and like astroturfing of the cup um, that a commissioner would do when trying to sell his product. But some interesting things that stuck out to me were that, well, the first quote that came out was that the NBA Cup isn't permanently stuck in Vegas. That they will look around to see if they want to move it somewhere else. And then immediately, what fans thought, when you say just that blanket statement, that like umbrella statement is that, oh, it's the Emirates NBA Cup. They're gonna move the cup to Dubai. They're gonna make the players fly all the way to Dubai to play 2 games. Da 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 da. And I thought it was a joke at first, and then I thought about it. I was like, oh my god, that is something they would do. That is totally something they would do. And granted, let me say this: I think any game that happens in Dubai would be in the morning, technically, here in the states. So I don't think that'd be a positive thing, especially on like what, a Wednesday morning. I guess they would probably finagle the schedule a little bit to put it on a weekend, maybe. But like a Wednesday, who's gonna watch an NBA game on a Wednesday morning or Wednesday afternoon? People already don't care about the cup that much, or should they don't care? People have lukewarm interest in the cup. It's the lukest of warmest that it could possibly be. It's like you ran the hot water for 2 seconds and then ran the cold water for like 5 seconds. Like, it's a little warm. It's all right. It's all right. And then the comment that came out after that, or the statement that came out after that, was they are looking to, or the report. It wasn't even a comment; it was just a report. It was like a clarification of what Adam Silver said. Somebody reported that the NBA would look into hosting the last 2 games, the semifinal, the last 3 games, the semifinals, and the final of the NBA Cup at like historic college campuses. And I thought that was an interesting idea. I don't know how well that would work out because you have the college season going on right now. I mean, a lot of the teams are in like tournaments at neutral sites, so like not tournaments, but they're in like single games, like at at neutral sites. Like they had the Jimmy V Classic last week, and they used MSG. So like it was like a BYU versus like what was the it was the team BYU versus somebody else. They weren't in at the home arena. It was a neutral site, so maybe it could work. I think that'd be cool. Maybe get some of like the draft picks, like the future draft picks involved as well. Get them to come to the game, watch the game, see some high level basketball, quote unquote. That'd be cool. Um, I don't know. I said this in my other video. I just don't know what I want from the NBA Cup and what I expect, because like I just have zero. I personally, because I often say people have zero interest in it because I have zero interest in it personally. I shouldn't say zero, like 5%, 50% interest in it. Where it's like, well, now it's behind a paywall. I have to pay Amazon to watch the NBA Cup. I don't really care that much about the NBA Cup to pay for it to watch it. The highlight the highlight tape that they put out is like almost 20 minutes long now, so it's like that's a good chunk of time to watch a highlight. A highlight tape. It's not like 5 years ago where they put like 8 minute highlight reel and they say watch the game. They put out like some real good quality highlights now, and you don't really need to have Amazon to watch the game and get a whole cadence and feel for the game. Um, and I probably will make a video about it, trying to nail down my thoughts. What does the cup need to be? And I think one of the bigger things that was mentioned that I saw floating around was like, need to make it divisional. The way they make these groups now is just, oh, the record from last year and this year and put together, and we put it in a formula, and they do all this other stuff. And it's like these are the just make it divisions. I think, and divisional rivalries are just bad now. They don't exist anymore. The NBA Cup could actually be like the NBA Divisional Cup or the NBA, like Division Cup or whatever. Like make it worth something, because like as much as I liked Spurs, um, OKC, they are coincidentally in a division together. I believe. Yeah, they're in a division. Are they in a division? They might not be in a division. They're close enough where they should be in the same division. Is what I'm saying. And that was a great game. Um, I think it needs to be divisional. I don't understand why it's not. Um, I kind of understand it, but like because like you would get like if you would have a division with like it's like the Hornets, Wizards, and like somebody else, and the Hornets and Wizards are just gonna get beat up. It's gonna be the easiest division for them. But like, hey, it provides good, content to see like these young, excuse me, these young teams go against, uh, we'll say like the Bucks or something. Chicago go against the Bucks. It'd be cool. Maybe not this year, but maybe in past years it would have been even better. Um, so yeah, that's my thought for now. I don't. Was this year a success? This is another question that I just came up with. Is I think I think the more teams that win it aren't com- that aren't that haven't accomplished anything. Like when the Bucks won it, it was like, oh, okay, we're back. We were the championship. We were the champions. Was it 2 years ago? We're back. We're on the right path. And they eventually fell. But that's how they're here. In the moment, that was a thought. And then when the Lakers won, it's like, oh yeah, it's LA, it's LeBron. They won the first one. Congrats. And then with this next one, Knicks fans give them a reason to celebrate anything. They'll celebrate anything. So yeah, I think the more that teams that have like these storylines win it, um, like if the OKC won it, it would have been so boring if they won it. But oh, okay, OKC won it, boo, like that kind of stuff. The more teams with storylines that win it, the more important it will become. The other thing that I saw was that the Knicks aren't going to hang an NBA Cup banner. The Lakers and the Bucks have both done it. I think the Knicks will do it. I think they're just like pussyfooting around. Like they'll hang it up. Nevertheless, I've been rambling for like 4 minutes. Let's briefly go over these two games that happened on Monday. What I did not know they were called, these are filler games. These are games that would have been, I guess, later in the week, but since the Cup is happening at the time it's happening, these are filler games. So these games are just regular season games that got moved up, I believe. So you had the Detroit Pistons versus the Boston Celtics, another classic from these two teams. The Boston Celtics lost 105 to Detroit Pistons 112. And this matchup, man, it feels like this matchup has happened like 5 times this year already. But this matchup is so good. I love watching these two teams play. If I could watch a 7 game series of this, I would totally watch it. It's so entertaining. The Pistons still atop the Eastern Conference, 21-5 now. Boston Celtics sitting at 15-11, hanging around right there. Um, this game, um, this game, man. Cade Cunningham looked like a boy amongst men for the Detroit Pistons. 32 points, 6 of 10 from three, 4 from free throw, 10 assists, 4 rebounds. Um, that, that, oh my, he had 5. He had 5. Damn, it didn't even feel like he had 5. I was looking at this. He had 5 personal fouls. Damn. Okay. But yeah, Cade Cunningham, the engine of the Pistons, looking so good. Every time I watch him when he has one of these nights and he starts off slow, I'm like, oh, is he gonna have a bad game? And then he ends up having like 30. It looks so easy for him. And I had this thought um, after watching this game on Monday. I was like, let's see, in like maybe like 3, 4 years, could Cade Cunningham be the best guard in the East? Is that on the table? And I thought about it, I was like, it's totally on the table. Because right now, obviously, the best guard is Jalen Brunson, who we just talked about at length, at nauseum. But he's not as young as you think he is. He's 29. Um, so 3, 4 years from now, so 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 33. Is a 33-year-old Jalen Brunson better than what would Cade be? He'd be like 20, 25, perhaps. If my math is correct. No, he's already 25. Oh, he's already 24. So Cade would be like 27, 28. 33-year-old Jalen Brunson versus 27-year-old Cade Cunningham. Something to think about. Something to think about. Let me know. Let me know. Comment it down below who you think will be better going forward. Because my money's on Cade, man. Cade's just, ugh, and he's so like imposing. His stature is really great. And his body's really good too. Also for the Pistons, Tobias Harris 13. Um, Off the bench, Karis LeVert 13. Jaden Ivey had a good couple moments, finally returning from injury these last couple weeks. 10 points for him. And for the Boston Celtics, they fought really hard this game. The usual suspects this season so far: Derek White 31, Jalen Brown 34, Peyton Pritchard 12. Didn't really get a lot off the bench. You got Gonzalez 5, Anthony Simons 9. Even though he had a good couple of defensive possessions, Anthony Simons, not good offensively. And the Pistons just they knocked the Celtics in the mouth, and the Celtics kept taking it, and then the Pistons delivered the knockout punch. So yeah, still atop the East. Just I'm keeping my eye on the Pistons. I made a video last year, at the end of last year. I was like, the Pistons are finally on the right track. They just need a couple things to go right. They need Cade to take another step. At that time, I was like, oh, they need Malik Beasley to come back, free agency. Malik Beasley isn't back, and this team is still really looking really good. Um, Kid has taken that next step, which is really positive. And then we got a overtime thriller for the night game, for the last game, last night game, the late night game of Monday. Rockets versus Nuggets. The Rockets lost this game 125 to the Denver Nuggets 128. Uh, the the minutes without Jokic in this game for the Nuggets were really impressive. Um, both their centers did foul out. Those being Nikola Jokic himself and Jonas Valanciunas, both fouling out. Um, Nikola Jokic, I believe, fouled out in overtime, like the first couple minutes of overtime. What was it? I forget when it was, but he fouled out eventually. Um, in critical parts of this game. And this team hung on, man. You had a Jamal Murray 35-point game. I always say it when I talk about Jamal Murray. If Jamal Murray played like this every night, he would be an all-star already. He might be on that track right now. Cam Johnson looked alive at least once. Didn't look like a corpse out there. 13 points. Um, 13 points for Tim Hardaway as well. Just some little stuff from other guys too. Um, let's see here. 9 rebounds, 4 assists for Bruce Brown. Peyton Watson came in, hit a three. Yeah, and then Nikola Jokic picked up the slack as normal. 15 rebounds, 10, 15 rebounds, 10 assists to go with his 39 points. Um, and this was a fairly interesting game, only for the fact that I don't know why this game I was so obsessed with the rebounds, but watching this Rockets team rebound, and how athletic some of these guys are was so impressive. Like just like it was such a little thing. It was such like a minute little thing that like when you would have Jonas Valanciunas and Nikola Jokic out there waiting for the rebound, Ahmed Thompson would just fly in, get the rebound for the Rockets. Josh Okogie would just fly in. Um, Reed Shepard at the end of the game would fly in and catch a couple rebounds. Like it was really jarring to watch because I think of Jonas Valanciunas and Nikola Jokic as two pretty high quality rebounders, but the Rockets just came. They would just fly in. Oh, that's mine. That's ours. Okay, another possession. Second possession. Ours. It was crazy to watch. The other thing I want to mention about this game, Kevin Durant looks so good defensively, and I sat here. I think I even sat here when the trade happened. I said, if they allow Kevin Durant to rest on offense a little bit and do more stuff defensively, this is going to be a really, 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 really good defensive team. Obviously, on paper, you look at the team as really good defensively. People don't remember those years in Golden State for Kevin. He had some of his best defensive years when he really didn't have the pressure on him to do the offensive things every night. Every other night, sure. Every night, it starts getting a little dicey, especially with Kevin Durant being older. Um, Defensively, Kevin looked great. Um, Offensively, he looked okay, but he only looked okay because Alperen Şengün had 33 points. He had the game tying shot to go to overtime, so shout out to Alperen Şengün. 10 assists, 10 rebounds. Um, Alperen Şengün always impresses me whenever I watch him, especially going up against Jokic. You have like the advanced version of like what you think is a playmaking center, and then you have like the second level or like the bottom the next to the bottom level, which is Alperen Şengün, doing like his perfect Jokic imitation, and almost winning the game for the Rockets. What bought them some time to get to overtime, and then almost could have won it to win the whole game, but did not. Other players for the Rockets, Josh Okogie had a crazy night, 16 points, 2 of 3 from 3, 7 of 9 overall from the field goal, 2 steals. Ahmed Thompson, 14 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. Jabari Smith, 16 points, 10 rebounds. And off the bench, they got a little nice Reed Shepard game, 14 points, looking more comfortable every game. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, just want to wrap those games up a little bit. Also wanted to say you guys will be getting a bunch of content this weekend. There's some topics that have been hitting my feed and I've put into my notepad that I'm like, I'm going to talk about this stuff. So you guys will get videos later in the week. Um, a mix of WNBA college, some NBA stuff as well. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, that's it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.